Pour yourself a bowl of Ralston Nintendo cereal system, but only from the port side. It's Saturday Morning Crunch. We review the Saturday movies, cartoons, morning cartoons as nominated by us. I'm your host, Kyle Von Kubik, and I'm joined along with...
It's me, Kiefer the Robo-Duke.
We're doing another Saturday Morning Crunch, and we are doing it as a part of a very special celebration. It's our Mario Mania! Let's go! A month-long celebration of Mario as we get ready for the release of this new Super Mario Brothers movie that's coming out in just a few days. And, of course, the Luigi to my other Luigi, Johnny Capcom.
Yeah, me. I live closer to Italy than anybody else.
Well, I live in New Jersey, and, you know, we have The Sopranos, so... I think we're a little more Mario Italian than that Italian, you know?
And hey, I'm from New York!
Oh, shit. Oh, he's got us both beat, Capcom. God damn it.
Well, it's like, my favorite story about Italy pizza in New York is the time I was in Manhattan and I was in a pizza place run by a guy, and he was having an argument with a customer, and he goes, "Hey, fuck you, buddy, I'm going to go down the street to the Italian place." And the guy goes, "Yeah, well, pal, listen, I'm from Pakistan, and that's closer to Italy than any of those fuckers have ever been." And yeah, good food in there as well.
Well, as you can see from the title of this episode, we actually got advanced preview copies for the Super Mario Brothers movie. And now, I will say this. Normally, we're talking about old Saturday morning cartoons or sometimes old animated features. But I do want to give a spoiler warning. We're going to get into the weeds. We're going to talk about the entire plot of the new film. We're also going to talk about the let's face it, gentlemen, the hilarious after credits scene.
Oh my god. I can't believe what they're setting up after this, you know? Like, I didn't think Knuckles in Sonic could have been topped, but right. And really, man, like Chris Pratt's performance, I can't wait to talk about it. And it was a performance, guys. You didn't see enough in those trailers. I don't want to say too much.
So I'm going to give you a few beats of silence. This is your last warning. There will be spoilers ahead. All right, April Fools, we ain't talking about that fucking thing. Like we have any pull to get preview copies of any film.
Well, you probably could pull in a favor with the lads in Trauma, right?
I could, yeah. If we want to get a preview copy of a Trauma film, I probably could swing that. No, we are talking Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. This was the first Super Mario Brothers movie ever released, and it was released back in 1986, specifically on July 20th. It was put out by Grouper Productions, Nintendo, of course, and Sochiku Fuji Company. How'd I do on that, John?
That sounds fine to me. I don't know.
All right, cool. Of course, this falls into the adventure comedy of what you'd expect from a Super Mario Brothers cartoon. It is the first Super Mario Brothers cartoon. However, despite a lot of bad reporting online, Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach is not the first time Mario appeared as a cartoon character. According to my research, that distinction would go to 1983's Saturday Supercade, which sounds like a show that would be a part of our network, but was actually a collection of arcade-centric cartoons. And they had a Donkey Kong-centric portion to that show, and Mario, as Mario, would appear in that cartoon.
He wasn't Jumpman, he was actually Mario.
Yeah, he wasn't Jumpman or Mr. U. The film that we're discussing, Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, does share a distinction, however, of being the first animated feature based on a video game, and it's shared with Secret of Running Boy, Star Soldier. These two films came out on the same day. They're both animated features centric around a video game, and of course, The Secret of Running Boy, Star Soldier is based on the video game Star Soldier.
It's really strange that we always get the first video game based on a movie, or the first great movie based on a video game discussions. Which, I mean, I don't know if there'll ever be a great movie based on a video game, but it's neat to find out that these actually existed at all. And was he playing Star Soldier in the opening of this movie?
We'll get to that. We'll get Mario, you're saying. Yeah, we'll get to what he was playing.
Yeah, like I saw that, and like I didn't realize until you were talking about this. I'm like, wait a minute, what was the opening? Okay, anyway, sorry. Getting ahead as always.
So I see a lot of reporting online and through YouTube, and I just think that there's this very bad feedback loop, and I know more people are discussing this now, where like, someone's opinion gets reported as fact, or someone guesses at something historically, and then they'll update a Wikipedia page, and then an article will use the Wikipedia page as the source, and then the Wikipedia page itself will use that same article as the source for the bad information. So with this, I keep seeing it reported as these two films being the first video game inspired films, period. Not animated features, films. And I know that's wrong, because Tron predates it. Some of those, I mean, I think, speaking of Troma, that goofy arcade movie, I believe, predates it. Like, there were
joysticks.
Joysticks, right. Or the Last Starfighter. Now, maybe these people mean that it's, like, specifically about a video game, but I'm not seeing that distinction. And I feel like it's just a lot of bad information being, circled about. The other thing I see with Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, I have to say the whole title each time, it's also considered by a lot of people to be the first, and I'm probably going to mess this one up as well, John.
Give me that raw Nihongo there, Kyle.
Isekai anime? That bad, huh?
Isekai.
Oh, all right. I can swing
John?
that.
I'm correct.
Yeah.
I don't know anime fucking Japanese. I only know how to order food and do business.
Okay. Yeah, but it's isekai. Isekai.
Are there any isekais, Keith? Do you know that? Can you go to a virtual restaurant inside of a real restaurant? Is that a thing in the world?
Oh yeah, because that is the word for a restaurant, isn't it?
Isekai is a specific type of restaurant that has a boss man standing in the middle of it.
Well, when it's used as a genre in anime, it involves a character being displaced by entering a portal, or at least that's my understanding. Keith, you can correct me, because
I know what type of anime you're talking about. There's one called like The Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime.
It's the ultimate weeb fantasy. You get sucked into a video game.
Yeah, and a lot of times the character will like die at the beginning, like they'll get killed and then wake up in a video game world to their greatest dream ever, that they're the most powerful being there.
Sword Art Online is a popular one, isn't it? That's a current one.
Yeah, or like Dot Hack was a way more slightly horror one, I would say. Not exactly like a horror anime, but about like the trappings of an online game. And like
it's my understanding that this genre doesn't have to be about a computer game or a video game, and in the past it had been used for being sucked into a painting of the protagonist was looking at, or being sucked into a book.
I bet there was a lot of sucking going on in those paintings. All right.
Let's keep it clean. We're all familiar with the pervy side of anime. This, unfortunately, I don't know, is not one of those types of animes, and neither is this genre specifically. But the argument is that this is the first anime within this genre to feature a character being sucked into a video game. And I'm of the opinion that that doesn't happen in this film.
No. When did Captain N come out?
Captain N, the whole Deke Nintendo verse would come out 3 years later.
Okay, because that's an isekai too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be more accurate of a description. I don't think this is an isekai because of how we'll talk about our protagonists enter the Mushroom Kingdom, and it's not through a television.
Yeah, because the word means like other world, like a rough translation. So like, no, they don't go into another world. They go to a part of their world. So
yeah. Something that John and I both noticed about this film is there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's a couple scenes where there's definitely product placement for ramen and rice. But there's not a lot of research about this film and why it was created, because it wasn't exactly a commercial, but, you know, Mario's eating instant rice with his picture on it, and it's not of the Mario who's in the film. It's, like, the character design from Nintendo. So, like, as we'll discuss later, while this cartoon looks very familiar with all the Nintendo characters that you would expect in a Super Mario Brothers cartoon, they're stylistically different than the character sheets or the character models you'd expect from seeing on like cartridge art or box art. And he's eating instant ramen with his picture on it, and he's also eating instant rice.
I kind of just figured like it looked too because it was kind of out of nowhere that they started eating it as well. Like they pulled it out of their arses essentially. Yeah. So I figured it was like, okay, these lads are promoting something here. I assume that's correct. Am I correct in my assumption? Or are we all correct in our assumption?
I had to make a connection. Nobody online made the connection between this and the movie. Mm-hmm. But there was a company known as Nagatanien who made...
Keith, do you want me to take that Japanese word for you?
Oh, no! I'm good. I got that. I think I did okay for a total gaijin.
Nagatanien!
But they were a company started in 1986 who were collaborating with Nintendo. They had they did licensing for curry and furikake, which is the stars he puts on top of the rice out of nowhere midway through the movie. And just an interesting little tidbit about this company, I found this absolutely fascinating, is they actually sponsored their own remake of the original Mario Brothers, the arcade game we all know.
Okay.
For the Famicom, and it was called Kai Te Kita Mario Brothers, which was a version of that game to include advertisements for their food products.
The original Mario Brothers, there's a couple of official versions of that released. There's one called Super Mario Brothers All Night Nippon.
Oh, no, we're talking... So, yeah, that's Super Mario Brothers. I think Keith's talking about Mario Bros.
Yeah,
correct?
It's Mario Bros. With, you know, the pipe... the arcade game Mario
Yes.
Bros. Yeah.
That's the one where you bite a lead pipe and jump off the roof, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
This episode is just hacking at the Japanese language with a rock axe. I saw a video the other day and someone brought up Nichibutsu, and I was like, yeah, I know who they are. You know, like they were talking about them as a super obscure developer, which I suppose they are. You know, wiping didn't quite catch on. Mario,
Yoshi, my girl. Sorry. これぞスーパーマリオのパワーの秘密だ。
私を2枚送ってね。素敵なテレフォンカードが当たります。
スーパーマリオブラザーズふりかけ長谷園から新発売。
One Red Podcast Network is a proud affiliate of AnimationLegends.com. Use our promo code RINGS to save at checkout. We're talking actual, authentic animation production artwork, one-of-a-kind things you're not going to find anywhere else. Authentic animation cells, background paintings, and production artwork from some of the most legendary, iconic Saturday morning cartoons and animated features. We're talking The Brave Little Toaster, we're talking Little Nemo in Slumberland, The Ultimate Spider-Man, X-Men, Ewoks, He-Man, G.I. Joe, and many more. Go to animationlegends.com and get real, authentic, one-of-a-kind artwork that you can adorn your walls with, and save at checkout with our promo code RINGS. That's RINGS, RINGS at checkout. animationlegends.com.
Nintendo,
It's for breakfast now.
Nintendo,
It's a cereal. Wow.
Nintendo,
Super Mario jumps
Nintendo,
in a fruit-flavored crunch.
Nintendo,
Here's Zelda too.
Nintendo,
It's very good news.
Nintendo,
You just can't move. Nintendo cereal system is a super part of this nutritious breakfast.
Nintendo.
2 cereals in 1. Wow.
All right, let's talk about our personal history with this film. I only heard about it a few years ago, maybe a decade ago at this point. But I never sought to sit down and watch it because at the time when I first heard about this strange Super Mario Brothers anime, this was the first full-length feature with Mario, and it predated the Deke cartoons and everything else. So I was interested, but when I went to look at it on YouTube, it was all in Japanese, and clearly I can't speak Japanese. So I gave it a scrub through, and I looked at a few different scenes. I'm like, that's cute, and forgot about it. And then with the Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, I was like, I want to do something special for Saturday Morning Crunch. Maybe we'll review the Deke cartoon again. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, like, hey, I should seek out to see if somebody did a decent dub of the anime that I remember hearing about so many years ago, the Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. And I'm still looking for that good dub of that film, but I did find a fan dub, which I shared with the crew so they can enjoy it as well, or at least watch the film and get an idea of what's being said.
Just listen, there's a bit of a swerve in the notes here. I said in the notes that I didn't know it existed until I heard about it. Yeah. But I actually voiced Luigi in this. Can you know the tale? It's a me.
Oh my God, John!
It's uncanny. I didn't realize that was you.
Honestly,
So good
one of my
at that.
original notes is, did Kyle voice the dog? Because that sounded like you doing the dog. Straight away to me.
The dog couldn't decide if it wanted to just be a dog or be Scooby-Doo. It was...
Yeah. There was some choices. Hey, save it for later. We'll
Yeah,
get to the
yeah.
voice cast. Keith did watch a little bit more of the Japanese flavor as well, so he can wax on the Japanese voice cast later on. But we did watch a fan dub, and I'm not going to bag on these dudes. I guess they did their best. I will say the Goombas... no, I'll save it. Let's talk about the plot of Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. The title kind of gives it away. They don't bury the lead. We open with Mario playing a Nintendo game late at night. And Luigi comes out, and he's like, you really should get some sleep. And Mario's kind of, distracted by the game and is kind of ignoring Luigi. Or not even kind of, he is ignoring Luigi. Luigi says he's going to go off to bed. And yes, Mario is playing a game that looks like an Ichibutsu game. It looks like maybe it's Hard Hat Harry.
Yeah, it looks like an Ichibutsu knockoff of Mario.
Yes, it's a little baseball cap wearing dude. I think he has a baseball cap wearing, but I think he has a bat as well, right?
Yeah, which made me think of Monster Party.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think that was out.
No, it's not
86.
that. It's not that, but that's a good pull because it kind of looks like that as a cartoon would represent a video game. Then all of a sudden the screen gets all goofed up, and there's Princess Peach, and she needs rescuing from King Koopa. And I'm going to call him King Koopa because that's his goddamn name. It ain't Bowser. Us Americans were told to call this dude Bowser, and it's not his name. It's Great Demon King Bowser. Oh no, I just said it. I fucked up. It's Great Demon King Koopa. They got me.
gotcha.
I'm
They
trying to break
fucking
myself
gotcha.
from calling him the wrong name.
They gaslit you, motherfucker. They gaslit you.
Eventually, the two characters, Princess Peach and King Koopa, come through Mario's television screen and into his living room, and a little brawl ensues.
Mario, defeat him! I know you can beat him up. You can do it!
All right, let's go. Come on, you and me. One goal. Goal. Stay away. Don't come any closer.
You have to believe in you, Mario! I know you can do it!
All right, come on. Let's go. Come on, come and get it. Come on, 1, 2. Come on, let's go. Ah!
You brute! How dare you! Stop! Let me go! Put me down now! I said put
Are you not gonna get all fucking up in arms about calling Peach Princess Toadstool?
Well, she's not called Princess Toadstool in this. However, there is a Toadstool character later on.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but we'll get up to it. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Her name in Japanese was always Princess Peach, and King Koopa's name in Japanese was always King Koopa. He's the king of the Koopas.
Yeah, and then this is where the argument of, is this an isekai? No, because he doesn't end up in that world, and he doesn't, spoilers, wake up from that world at the end of it. So it's not actually an other world. It's just, I don't know, they came out of the TV to just make sure you realized you were watching a video game movie, I guess.
The mountain came to Mario in this instance. He didn't go through the television screen. The game that he was playing is not the game that comes through the television screen. And he doesn't go into the television screen into either the Mushroom Kingdom or the game that he was playing. Princess Peach asks for Mario's help while they're in his living room. She says that he's Mario the Great Knight, which is never brought up again. Again, we're listening to a fan dub, so I don't know if this was liberties were taken or if this is just from the script.
And a heads up, I only watched the last 15 minutes of this in Japanese because I didn't find the link to the Japanese version until I had endured 45 minutes of the English version already. Or the dub. I won't even call it English. We'll call it the fan dub.
Yeah.
Already. So I don't have a full grasp on any of the, what was different between the two. Also, it could just have the subtitles from the fan dub over the Japanese for all I know.
So anyway, a little brawl ensues. Mario tries to help Princess Peach. He's scared of King Koopa. Princess Peach gets a couple throws in, so careful out there. I know the Twitterverse gets all upset with the Mary Sues. Princess Peach actually does throw a couple punches, but cannot defeat King Koopa and is abducted back through the television screen. We get static, and now it's like as if nothing happened. Luigi wakes up, comes out to Mario. Mario tells him what happened, and Luigi laughs at him a lot, like obscenely long amount of laughing, in my opinion, and says it was all a dream, go to bed. Luigi walks off. Mario finds Peach's necklace.
He goes back upstairs then to his bed, the room from Luigi's bed. And there's a chamber pot in the middle of it. And they're there at night, and it's dark, and it's very, basically, one of them tries to fuck his mattress because he's got a little wooden carving of Peach.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, no, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm talking about the lighthouse. Apologies.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
Yeah, Mario's definitely
none of that happens.
The superior one in this. No, because look, just canon-wise, it's very inaccurate.
I thought you were fond of my spaghetti. I love Luigi's voice in this.
So Mario finds Peach's necklace to tell us, the audience, that it wasn't a dream. It actually happened. Here's the physical item in his world. Thus opens the theme song to this film, which is Doki 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 Do It, but it sounds like Doki 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 Dewey.
Actually, I was asking my fiance watching this. I looked over at her and I was like, who's Dewey? They keep saying Dewey.
Yeah.
Who is he? Where is he?
I hope you like the song, because you're going to hear it about 8 more times throughout the film. This opening credit sequence, we get some stills of, what would you call it? Just some matte paintings of Mario in different environments that have nothing to do with the film we're about to watch. But we get to see Sombrero Mario.
Yeah, it was like it predicted Mario Odyssey But also I noticed later when they do leave their house, they live in the desert with a bunch of cactuses. So I'm like, do the Japanese not know the difference
between Italy and Mexico?
But also, no, then I thought about it and I was like, well, they do have cactuses in Italy. They filmed all those Westerns.
No, they were filmed in Spain.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so I think they're confused. I think the Japanese might have been very confused. They've been like, are they Mexican or Italian? I don't know, like, both?
I'll tell you, Nintendo loves putting Mario in a sombrero because, well, before Odyssey, I think he shows up in Alleyway with the sombrero on one of the score screens, and he definitely shows up in a sombrero for, was it Tetris, or am I getting confused? Maybe it was Alleyway. But there's a Game Boy game, you know what, I'll just drop it in if I'm wrong right here.
Hey, it's Kyle with a quick addendum. First off, I had my wisdom teeth pulled about 2 hours ago, so I'm a little fucked up right now. That said, the only 2 games I can find where Mario appears in a sombrero are Kicks for the Game Boy and then Super Mario Odyssey. Not Alleyway. So I was wrong. Now back to our show.
Maybe I wasn't. But anyway, there's a lot of instances where Mario is in a sombrero. So they love putting him in a sombrero. And again, we're moving ahead a little bit, but Mario and Luigi live on whatever continent the Mushroom Kingdom exists on.
Yeah, they're from the west side of it.
Even though they don't know where it is. And so here's how we find this out. So Mario and Luigi, it's the next day. Mario's still thinking about what happened the night before. He's still holding Peach's necklace. And Mario and Luigi are at work. Now it's Mario and Luigi, the Mario brothers. Where do they work? A grocery, of course.
Yeah. That's what they do in the games, Kyle. Have you never played a Mario game?
Yeah, they work in the grocery store.
Well, that's what Lou Albano and the other guy were working in. Did you not see the scenes?
That is what I was thinking. Not to get ahead on. I mean, we're obviously talking now about the opening and the characters.
Yeah.
I feel like the inspiration for these voices was the original Mario show.
The fan dub.
Yeah, the fan dub, like they sound like Captain Lou Albano and the other guy,
Danny Wells.
Yeah. It sounds like those two, you know, because he's definitely doing it like, hey, it's me, Mario. Whoa.
If you do drugs, you'll go to hell before you die.
While Mario is playing with or looking at... Oh, there's some comedic bit where a customer comes in, needs items, and Mario's not paying attention to her, and she gets angry and storms off. Luigi's like, what's going on with Mario? He sees that Mario is holding Peach's necklace and immediately knows that it's from the Koopa people.
Huh? Hey, bro, where did you find this diamond? Don't touch! It's mine. Snap out of it, brother. This gem has been passed on by the Koopa people. It's worth fortunes. Koopa people? Yeah, see? Look right there. This gem originates from the Lost Mushroom Kingdom. It's filled with fire flowers, golden mushrooms, and at night stars will fall from the sky. Amazing! Yeah! Let's go! Yeah! Where's it at? I don't know. Hey, let's call our friend to find out.
Yeah, and a little bit of foreshadowing there too. He pulls a turnip out as one of the items. Mario 2.
Yes.
Which, I mean, Doki Doki Panic for all you people out there, but yeah.
Doki Dewey. So he knows it's the Kinopio people, which in Japan the toads are called Kinopio, and he told Mario that was all a dream. Princess Peach and King Koopa, you're silly, that's ridiculous. But somehow knows that this necklace is connected to the legendary Kinopio people of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's been under a curse for so long that like no one even knows who Peach is, perhaps, and that's why like none of that registered to Luigi.
Well, Luigi has a book on the subject. He immediately takes out a book, too.
Yes, and I think I have a reasoning on it. I don't think that was a book on the Mushroom Kingdom. We come to find out Luigi is a very greedy fellow, and he loves treasure and coins. So maybe it was a book about precious gems and precious treasures.
That's a good theory.
And he's like, I know that gem, because I'm a greedy fuck.
Can I tell you my theory about this, Luigi?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it's Luigi. He wears yellow and blue.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with gold. He has the worst accent imaginable. This is the original version of Wario. This specifically the one that Elon Musk played in that sketch. That's what, like, because this Luigi, he does have the Wario colors and the obsession with money.
Well, Wario is yellow and purple, not yellow and blue, but he is obsessed with money. It is a different take on Luigi that we haven't seen, I haven't seen before in any of the other characterizations of Luigi.
Yeah, he feels more akin to Toad in the Mario cartoon.
Yeah, okay.
You know, with like citing our other episode, go check out that Christmas episode review of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, where we have the very greedy Toad.
Right.
Like, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah. But I like your theory that the book that he has is actually like a treasure hunting book.
Never forget my specialty, Kyle. Finding a way to take something that makes no sense and have it make sense.
Right, filling in the gaps, if you will.
Yeah, I'm filling in the gaps.
Well, they have a gap in their knowledge as to where the Mushroom Kingdom is, so they call a quote-unquote old friend. The phone call goes relatively quickly because the old friend is speaking very quick, and again, I don't know if this is a decision on the part of the fans who are doing the dub, or if it was just this way, like that was the joke in the anime, but he goes, "Oh, hello, I know exactly what you need, and I'm gonna send somebody to pick you up right away," and then hangs up the phone. And so Luigi and Mario don't get a word in edgewise, and a dog appear. Well, what looks like a caterpillar, it looks like a wiggler, but with a dog type of aesthetic to the back end and the front end. So it's got some dog ears, it still has the wiggler nose, and it's got a dog tail in the back. But it enters the grocery again immediately, and then proceeds to steal the necklace and run out the door. A chase ensues, and we get to hear the theme song again.
Well, that's how you do branding, Kyle. You make sure that you have people associate the music with the thing. Maybe you need to pay attention a little bit more in business class. Okay.
I must have missed the classes on Doki 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 Dewey.
It's called Beat Your Customers to Death with your brand. It's what McDonald's do,
Da 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 Dewey. So yeah, there's a little chase, it ensues, and the Mario Brothers fuck around and find out at a construction site because they're playing around on sewer pipes, and then they die because the sewer pipes fall on top of them. These are big concrete pipes.
It does look like they die. It weirded me out. It's like Mario chases the dog through them, and then like they go in one in the center, and like every time they go down one, it makes the pew 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 noise.
Yeah.
But like before Luigi can show up, all the other pipes disappear but one. Mm-hmm. And then he gets in it, and it falls over and explodes, and they die.
They die, and they meet God.
Or as my fiance called him, the Winter Warlock. She was
okay. I see that too from the Rankin Bass Santa Claus film.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
a good one. He's like this character that they meet is the Mushroom Kingdom. It's not a Gandalf because he doesn't really mix it up at all with King Koopa. He's just like a wise man, but he's got the long beard and the white cloak and whatnot.
He does have exactly the voice you think he does in Japanese. I'll say that. Like if you hear his voice in Japanese, you'll be like, oh yeah, of course that's how he sounds in Japanese.
And God proceeds to tell the Mario Brothers what Mario already knows, which is King Koopa is terrorizing the Mushroom Kingdom and has kidnapped Princess Peach. Mm-hmm. He does inform them that the way to defeat King Koopa is by collecting the 3 legendary power-ups. Again, I don't know if this is a choice on the part of the fan dub or not, but that's what they're called as power-ups. They question what a power-up is, and he explains that they're 3 legendary items. It is the Mushroom of Truth, they call it, I think twice, the Fire Flower, and the Starman, which of course are from the games.
Though they don't play the superstar music at all in this.
Do they not?
I don't know. So that was one of the weird moments, because they play a lot of the music when you expect, but that was one I was waiting for, and it didn't happen.
Mario and Luigi are also informed by God that they fit the description of these legendary heroes, these 2 brothers that would come and save the Mushroom Kingdom and stop the marriage. which I guess that's a part of the legend, is that King Koopa was going to steal Peach and marry her on Friday the 13th.
Weird choice for the Friday the 13th thing. I'm wondering if that is a choice of the fan dub.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know if Friday the 13th is significant at all in Japanese culture.
In July of 2021, a Twitter user by the name of Carnival, that's Carnivol, released a scan, like a full scan of the Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach 16mm film. And that led to a fan restoration by Keneko Video, and they released a 4K resolution restored version of the film onto YouTube in April of 2022. So if you are interested in watching both the fan dub and the restored version of this film, I will have links in the show notes for both. Okay, so Mario, Luigi, Kibidango is the name of the Wiggler dog we find out in this scene. They set off, and a montage ensues to hear the theme song again.
Did you notice the COVID spores in the sky when they were running?
Don't spoil my jokes. Don't spoil my jokes for later.
Well,
there is the backgrounds are strange. It is sort of this George Harriman crazy cat weird backgrounds. I know that's not a good reference point for anybody unless they were alive in the 1920s to be specific, and I wasn't around back then. But it's the weird sort of abstract backgrounds that you would see in, well, Captain N's a good pull.
Yeah, it's like it's an approximation of what a platforming world would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Just like blocks in the sky, but then, as I said, they put these big COVID spores up there as well. For some reason. It's the weird thing about this movie is that, like, they get a lot of the art direction right, and then get a lot of it, like, wrong. The whole thing, to me, the world they're in, looks like the worlds that you would see in the Sonic Chili Dog cartoon.
That's another good pull for what you'd expect in the background. Sure, yeah, abstract, weird, geometric shapes floating, gradients for the sky, desert, yeah.
Maybe deserts are easy to draw, I don't know, because they're just lines.
Yeah, it's a good question, because the original Super Mario Brothers, that this movie is heavily based on that game, the Super Mario Brothers game. There is no desert stage that I interpret as a desert stage. Maybe you guys disagree, but that wouldn't come till later, which would be Super Mario Brothers USA, Doki Doki Panic, Super Mario Brothers 2, whatever flavor you want to call it.
Super Mario Brothers 2, Doki Doki Do It. That's the official of the game, as far as I know.
But yeah, it is interesting that they went with these sort of desert themes. Again, maybe it's just because they think Mario's from Mexico. I don't know.
Yeah, or they got confused like me, and they're like, he's Italian, there's all those Westerns. It looks like the American West.
It's not that unfathomable, because I listened to an interview with somebody who worked at Retro Studios, and they were talking
Tommy Tallarico?
No, it wasn't Tommy
Tallarico. No. Damn it, I was going to do that joke, motherfucker.
No, it wasn't Tommy. But his mother is very proud of him.
Did you know that I voiced Mario in the original Japanese version of the anime? You can't look it up.
No, but it was somebody else who worked on the development team, and they had pitched a Metroid Prime game or a Metroid-centric game to Nintendo, and what they wanted was like an open world where Samus would collect bounties across the galaxy, because Samus is a bounty hunter, and Samus has always been called a bounty hunter. And what he discovered in his meeting with Nintendo of Japan was that Nintendo of Japan didn't know what the words bounty hunter together meant. They didn't like the idea of Samus going and collecting bounties on criminals. And, through the translations, they figured out that they just liked the sound of bounty hunter. They didn't actually know what it meant. Now,
and that is totally a Japanese thing, to put, like, English words and stuff like that on shirts, not because they know what it means.
It's called decorative English. There's an actual word for it in it's something ego. Ego is what they call English.
This is one person's account of a meeting that happened years ago. What rings it true for me listening to the interview was He said that, and I wish I could remember his name.
I think what he said, Kyle, was that he goes, Miyamoto said, I would just like you to follow Tommy Tallarico's lead because he's the first person that we've signed on to work on this game.
He's the first American they ever worked with.
Yeah, and
they said, look, Tommy made some music, and we need you to design a cartoon based around the sound effects and music you're going to create, Tommy.
That
Tommy's
lie,
like,
that Keith's not even joking. That lie was actually said by Tommy Tallarico in regard to. I think it was Metroid Prime. Jeez,
it was to
Louise.
Metroid Prime,
Oh,
but
boy. What a jerk! No,
God, that video's so fucking. Oh God! Everyone watch the Roblox oof video. Just go look that up and watch it.
No, what this real interview that I watched? Well, that's a great documentary on Tommy Tallarico and his lies. But going back to what I was originally talking about, the reason why it kind of rings true for me is he said in that same meeting, that development meeting, where it became clear to him that Nintendo of Japan didn't understand what the term bounty hunter meant. They said, no. Samus, she's not a hard-boiled hero going after criminals. She's a mother. And then, of course, we would see later on the Wii, which game was that now? Other M, where that was a huge part of the storyline there. So take it for what it's worth. It's very possible that
a huge part of the storyline everybody hated.
Yes, it's clear that Americans get Metroid a lot better than the Japanese counterparts do.
Yeah, because it's a better, and fucking Mandalorian figured this out too. It's better when you have this hard, tough hero who suddenly finds themselves taking care of a very dangerous being that sees them as their mother, and they are the reluctant paternal figure. So
yeah, not
but I don't
Samus
know.
going, my womb aches thinking about the child.
Oh God, gee, yeah, that.
I don't. That's not a real line, but
that is one of the songs Tommy Tallarico wrote.
All right. So anyway,
it was really controversial though because he wanted to write a song called. It was based on that Will Smith song "Boom Shake the Room," but it was "Boom Shake the Womb," and it was about Steven Tyler, his cousin. Being a fucking child molester.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. Allegedly, by the way, allegedly.
By his own fucking admission, he was a child molester.
Allegedly. Anyway, getting back to Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach.
Yeah, what are we talking about? We were talking about that new one with Chris Pratt.
What's going on? We smash cut after the montage, and each one of these little montages are these little vignettes that are interpretations of. Well, sometimes are interpretations of things you do in the game, like platforming and hitting Koopa's shells and things like that. After that initial montage where Mario and Luigi set off to the Mushroom Kingdom, we get a first night now. They're stopping for the night. They got a little fire set up. They're hanging out by the rocks.
I'm going to die of starvation.
Hey, you two. Looks like you're having some food issues.
Please, if you have food, can you share it with me?
Well, we have a big pile of mushrooms.
I love mushrooms.
Follow us then.
I'm going to grab ourselves some dinner.
And it reminded me a lot of the scene in The Hobbit. I'm talking about the Rankin Bass cartoon in the book, not the. I'm sure it happens in the Peter Jackson film as well. But they're all gathered by the fire, and it's right before the trolls come onto the scene. Instead of trolls, we get Goombas, and instead of the Goombas trying to eat Mario and Luigi, they just get Luigi fucked up on mushrooms.
First thing I notice here with the Goombas, obviously fan dub, this was probably something everybody did separate voices and collaborated together from different locations.
Yeah.
The Goombas had the best mic out of everybody.
Best mic, and I like that they weren't putting on a voice. It was just like, or, yeah. I like the choice that the fans chose with the voices of these two Goombas. It just worked for me. I think they're my favorite characters in the film.
Yeah, if they were done by an 80s cartoon company, they would have pulled like Frank Welker in to do the voices of the Goombas and have them, Well, actually, no, Frank Welker would have been the fucking dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Welker would have been the dog. I'm wrong.
So, because Mario and Luigi aren't familiar with the Mushroom Kingdom, I guess, or this region that's in walking distance of their grocery store, but just underneath the sewer pipes. They actually trust the Goombas a couple times throughout the film because they don't know that these guys are bad guys. So the Goombas lead Luigi. Mario's asleep and the dog's asleep, but Luigi's just starving. And they lead Luigi, the Goombas lead Luigi to a mushroom patch, and he starts digging in. And Mario wakes up and finds Luigi, what is he initially? Laughing, right? He's eating laughing mushrooms. Then he's eating crying mushrooms. And then he eats angry mushrooms. So these mushrooms, a part of the Mushroom Kingdom, or just outside the Mushroom Kingdom, have sort of emotional properties to them.
Yeah, I definitely think they're a little bit psychedelic, you know. I mean, mushrooms can make you a little emotional. And stuff like that. So, I mean, they're not wrong.
So after some quote-unquote comedy ensues, a giant Koopa paratrooper swoops in and abducts Mario and then eventually abducts Luigi and the dog as well, trying to feed them to her babies. I'm talking giant. Like Super Mario Brothers 3 Giant World Giant. She's much bigger.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do think that...
I try to think.
Mario... once again, making sense of the nonsense. Sure. Here I go.
Yeah.
In the original Mario game, when you are your normal size, like you're not... Everyone always says it's like, oh, you're shrunken Mario. It's like, no, that's Mario at his regular size.
Yes.
The mushrooms make him big.
Yes.
And if you look, Mario in that game, when he's small, is the same height as the Koopas, so they could be close to that, but then also the Goombas are still small. So, like, they have no size reference in any of this.
At this point of the film, I thought maybe that was the direction they were going, because later on we see Mario use the mushroom and get big, and then he is about the size of this paratrooper, but King Koopa is the same height as Peach, or a little bit taller. The Goombas, like you touched on, are smaller than Mario when he doesn't have the mushroom, and I just noticed that the scale of the characters were kind of all over the place. It's a nitpicky thing. It's more of me just being disappointed because I thought maybe the animation studio was going that direction, Keith, that you're talking about, where it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I'm like, oh, cool, I like this choice that, you know, the Koopa Troopas are giant until Mario gets the mushroom. But that doesn't hold throughout the entire film.
No, this is probably just something Nagatanien helped fund, and they couldn't get the best studio for the animation, and they had no real size references going on here.
Right. Conveniently, the Mushroom of Truth, which is the first power-up they're looking for, of course they're looking for them in, like, the order of their strength in the video game, too. It's not like they found the Starman first or the Fire Flower. They find the Mushroom first. It's the first power-up you get in the game. The Mushroom is on the cliffside where the nest is, and it's in climbing distance. Mario goes up and he gets it.
It's frozen in gold ice, and when he pulls it out, gold rains down on Luigi, and so, you know, everybody's getting what they want.
And we find out that the gold coins that Luigi's been seeking throughout the world are actually the Canopio people, or the Toads.
Yeah, and in the beginning, they do have God say, like, all the people of the Mushroom Kingdom have been turned into blocks.
Which is in the manual, as the English manual. I remember that it said.
So I'm guessing they're also assuming if you're hitting the blocks to get coins, then the coins are also the people.
Right. So we've gotten our first power-up, which means yet another walking montage with Doki Doki Dewey happening in the background.
Boy, this is the point where I, like, kept zoning out.
Keith was thinking about actually doing it, if you get me. I'm so depressed.
My fiance was watching it with me, so I, like, looked over at her. I was like, I think we got about 30 seconds, like,
Keith,
and I think I got about 30 seconds, so let's go.
I meant suicide. Apologize.
Oh,
God.
Wow. I mean,
I'm not putting a
why
trigger
not
warning
both?
at the
I'll
top
go
of
out
the
David
show.
Carradine style.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Sorry, this cartoon is really boring. Like, it's a boring cartoon. I'm getting, like, PTSD for it as we talk about it. And literally, I'm just like, I'm going through the same emotional state. And what I do when I'm in those states is I just, like, talk about other things. So I apologize.
Yeah, the Bullet Bill scene montage was okay, though, because at first it seemed like they were gonna... It was fine. It's like they're fitting in stuff from the game where it's appropriate.
Right.
but it's not exciting.
No.
It's not entertaining. It feels more like Baby Einstein. Like, look at the colors as they're walking along.
This is made for toddlers, and we're trying to dissect it, make sense
I mean,
of it.
they really did. Yeah, this was definitely made for very young kids. Beyond like the dialogue having like trying to be a little Looney Tunes in some of its jokes.
And like a Looney Tunes cartoon, our protagonists come up upon a signpost. They don't know where to go. The Goombas tell them, "Hey, you're looking for a fire flower. Why don't you check out the flower field over there?" They go into the flower field, and of course, wouldn't you know it, it's piranha plants, and the piranha plants are there to bite their butts. They run off, but this pisses off Lakitu, who evidently has the power to control weather and turn the freaking frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, he's raining down on the plants to make the piranha plants grow so they can attack Mario and Luigi. And then Mario gets...
No.
No?
What happens is
they
ruin the piranha plants.
Right.
Lakitu drops the spike balls.
Oh, that's right.
He makes it rain, and the lightning...
Yes.
The electronic... To quote, I wrote down the quote.
Yeah.
The electronic waves create life in the spikes, which I think they're called spikes in the original game.
Spinies.
They're just called
Spiny.
Spiny. Okay, so not spike.
Yeah.
Same difference. But no. Lakitu has the power to create life.
Right.
He is also God.
And so now they're trying
I believe the line in that another line I loved. Once again, fan dub, great choices here.
Yeah.
The line is, "Well, you can't force us into your mess." Just a very weird choice of words.
That could have been a literal translation right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that might be... Some of these I think are literal,
Yeah.
and some of them I think are their choices.
Yeah.
And usually the ones that are their choices are when the mouths aren't moving and they're just filling in stuff as they would do, like with Speed Racer, where no one's mouth is moving, but they're having dialogue to explain what's happening as if we're idiots.
Well, I'll tell you what gets filled in. Mario, as he gets pegged by a vine that grows from the ground.
I thought it was growing out of his ass.
It hits him right in the catucus and raises him into the sky simply so he can just defeat Lakitu, steal his cloud, and start spreading chemtrails everywhere. And then just...
He makes it snow, which covers all the Spinies.
Yes.
Who then die over the cold winter, which Mario and Luigi can survive.
Yeah.
And in a very psychedelic kind of way, they all turn into fields of flowers, which another Toad princess appears, and they get the fire flower.
That's right. And then... yet another fucking montage with the Toki Toki Dewey. This time we get to see some Buzzy Beetles interact with Mario. The Goombas lead, after the montage, we see the same two Goombas again, and they lead Mario and Luigi into a mine with the hopes, at least on Luigi's part, to find some gold. And as far as they can tell, they are in a gold mine. However, it's a trap. Wouldn't you know it? They close in the one end, and on the other end there are prison bars for them to look through, and the Goombas can tease Mario and Luigi. The Goombas leave them imprisoned with a Hammer Bro as a guard.
I believe that's on the first page of the prison manual. When you take over a prison, they say, if you imprison somebody and they have like sophisticated digging tools, just let them have them.
That's right. Yes, Luigi still has his pickaxe, a shovel. I think he has some sticks of dynamite, but he's too distracted by all the gold, or what he perceives as gold around them, that he doesn't even realize that they are imprisoned.
I like to think Luigi has what I like to call Scrooge McDuck syndrome.
He definitely does, and I think John's reference to Wario, it's a proto Wario type of character. It's not intentional. It wasn't like they were trying to add anything to the canon. But again, what are you basing this off of? You're basing it off of Donkey Kong, Mario Bros, and Super Mario Brothers. There's not a lot there, particularly for Luigi, who's only in 2/3 of those games.
I think they just looked at the game and went, you collect gold along the way, let's give that character trait to one of them.
And on top of that, like, Luigi literally just does what Mario does in the game. He's just a reskin. So they had to be like, make him a scumbag.
Yeah, somebody had a weird ROM hack and he was blue and yellow in their version, I suppose.
I couldn't remember, and I meant to boot it up before we came on, but I think that costume is a selectable costume in Smash Brothers.
Oh.
I'd be willing to bet.
Yeah, and it could just be because of this, because this is we're skipping ahead because we're getting into art direction. This is the first time Luigi is interpreted as a cartoon, and he is distinctively different than Mario. He's a little bit taller.
Bigger cock.
Bigger cock. But the color choice, I was like, that looks familiar. I bet that's from one of the older games, like Mario Bros. Or Wrecking Crew or some shit like that. And I looked at too many things. Too many things. I wasted my time looking for that costume. I think that yellow and blue getup is only seen in this cartoon and as a palette swap in Smash Brothers. Anyway, we cut to Princess Peach and King Koopa discussing their impending marriage, and Princess Peach tries to trick King Koopa, and for a short period of time is successful, but then it ultimately fails. King Koopa is very magic in this. Yeah. He's a shapeshifter, and she asks him to shapeshift. If you really love me, or if you want me to be with you, or whatever, you'll shapeshift into a teddy bear. He does so, and she locks him in a box, but then he just transforms back into King Koopa and busts right out.
No, he literally turns into the box, and the box animates as him back into himself. Like, he melds with the box and turns back. It's very trippy psychedelic. That at that point is my favorite line in the whole thing, is when he's like, "You can't escape, ha 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 ha. Like, Mario, he's never coming for you." And he goes, "Stay in denial, girl." And walks away.
He does tell Princess Peach that he wants to conquer the known world so she can rule over all of it, which I thought was an interesting motivation. Now, after this scene, we don't get a montage, but we do get a musical dream sequence, so it's pretty much the same thing. Luigi digs tunnels. He likes to dig tunnels. He figures out that they can escape. They evade the Hammer Bros, and Luigi accidentally throws the Starman into the ocean. I guess, what do they find? What happens is Luigi's grabbing all this gold in this mine, and it ends up all being fool's gold except for the Starman, which he dug up somehow. But then he accidentally dumps it into the ocean because he's upset because all his gold was fake. And Mario sees that the Starman falls into the ocean. He dives in to retrieve it.
Ah, not again. Swim, 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 swim. We'll go to that ship over there.
And we see a bunch of, like, interesting underwater things that don't happen in the game, with the exception of Cheep Cheeps. There's a sunken pirate ship down there, and they blow the ship. They just blow on it. And it becomes a sky ship.
They just blow the sails to get out of the water and away from a giant blooper.
Yeah.
And they are now
just on the cusp.
Through
on the cusp of being turned into a pervy anime with those tentacles. But
the blooper has to be like the most fucking hated enemy in those games, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, in the original game, yes, his movement is... He's like the jumping humper underwater. His movements are so erratic, you don't know what to fucking do with him. And you can't just kill him. Like, bloopers are only not scary if you have the fire flower. And you're like, fuck you.
Right.
But if you have nothing, like, he's the biggest pain in the ass. You better just keep swimming.
And then they put them in the sky. And you're like, what the fuck? Why are these in the sky? What are they doing? Who taught them to fly? So we get another musical montage as we're doing our best Return to Oz on the Gump, as Mario and Luigi fly this broken-ass pirate ship across the sky toward Koopa's castle, Peach's castle, both. Cut to the Koopas, which are...
the Cursed Castle.
Cursed Castle, The Koopa Troopers are having some sort of Wicker Man type celebration in preparation of Bowser's marriage, and at the wedding, King Koopa cannot take a hint.
It's funny when you mentioned Wicker Man there, because I actually referenced another of my favorite films in this. I was like, Bowser's having his Big Trouble in Little China wedding. Because I have expected him to have a spare Peach, He could have married them both and sacrificed one to Mao Ying.
Oh, you needed Daisy. You needed Peach and Daisy.
Oh, that'd be perfect. I want to animate that now.
Completely unrelated, I kind of want to draw Peach, but in that midsummer, like all the flowers around her face type of thing.
Yeah,
but doing that frowny face.
Yeah, or just not. Would you call it a frown? It's just sort of like that zoned out look. But yeah, you get it. Anyway, we get a few vignettes of Mario exploring the castle once the pirate ship crashes. It's just falling apart in the sky. I don't know how they made it happen. I don't know if it was connected to the Starman power-up that they could make this.
It's very Looney Tunes.
It's stupid.
They're like rowing it still through the sky as it flies. I guess the star power is helping it. It made me think of Mario 3 once again, like it's predicting the future. Yeah. But yeah, they crash into the castle and start exploring it, which I did like that sequence where it is side-scrolling. That was the only part that was like the actual game where he's running through the castle and there's the spinning flames and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Luigi is on the hunt still for gold, and it leads him to digging a hole deep enough into the castle where he strikes water and thus dousing the lava pits, which cause a sinkhole, I guess, or an earthquake. And that's what stops the wedding, is the destruction of the castle. So for all you Luigi fans out there, Luigi's a bit of a heroic hero in this one. Not so cowardly, very greedy, very money-centric, but he makes some things happen in this cartoon. Then the final battle happens, and I'm just like, is he gonna use these power-ups, or is this it? Like, when does the spell get broken finally? Who yells at him to use the power-ups? I think it's one of the Toad people, right?
I think, but the weird thing is, so this is around when I switched to Japanese, and I don't know if this was in the dub, but in the subtitles, they tell him to use the Triforce.
Oh, what? Really?
Yes, the subtitles say, like use the power of the Triforce. And if you think about it, he did have...
That's not in the dub.
He had three things.
Yeah.
You know, it is a Triforce.
Huh.
It's 3 items, and I was like, whoa. They called it that. Is that just like the Japanese to English translation? Right. Did they use it? But like, I'm sure you guys would have said something or noticed it had they called it this.
No, they didn't. That's cool. So Mario uses the 3 power-ups. He's strong enough to defeat Bowser, and he defeats Bowser a la Super Mario 64 by grabbing his tail, swinging him around, and letting go. And he's blasted.
And calling him gay?
No, not that part. He didn't do that part, Keith.
So long, gay Bowser.
But I thought that was neat. Mario returns Peach's necklace. Now, Peach has been sending signals to our boy. Come rescue me. During the wedding, at least in the fan dub, she's saying how she's going to marry the man of her dreams, Mario. She loves him, everything else. So Mario hands back the necklace to Peach, breaking Bowser's spell on Kippy Dango the dog and transforming him into Prince Toadstool.
Well, he's the prince of the Flower Kingdom, according to the subtitles in the Japanese one. So he's from a neighboring kingdom. He is the prince. And he's the prince of the Flower Kingdom, and he is the one she is meant to be with, as he has the same necklace as her.
Peach turned to Mario and she goes, "Listen, Mario, I do like you, but I have to get married to him because he's my cousin. That's how royal families work, okay?
He's also got money. You run a grocery store. We couldn't ever be together. This isn't a Hallmark movie.
Also, my family hates Italians."
Oh, no!
Also, what are you, Mexican, Italian? I saw you wearing that sombrero.
Oh, boy. No love for the Blue Bloods.
All hail Mario, the original short king, okay? That's all I gotta say.
Our short king does not get the girl. And Peach doesn't even have the fucking decency to get Mario and Luigi home. We watch Mario and Luigi walk their ass home.
She doesn't even give him a cake. Mario makes it better in 64.
Not even a goddamn P-Wing. Nothing.
Well, I guess they got some treasure. Luigi goes home with some treasure in the end, I believe, right? He probably had something in that knapsack. Unless all the gold turned into Toadstool people.
Loads of blood diamonds.
So we watch them walk home, and we do get an after credit scene, which I was surprised by. It wasn't, so expected, back in the 80s to get some sort of after credit scene. And we cut to the grocery store where Mario and Luigi work. And wouldn't you know it, there's a whole new staff working there, and it's Bowser and gang behind the counter. The end.
I thought it was King Koopa, Kyle. I thought that was his name.
Oh, God, and I wrote the wrong name.
You were writing Bowser over and over in your notes.
I'm trying to break myself from calling him Bowser. Anyway.
But you still write it.
I know.
You
I know.
can't.
It's all these years of being told when I was young that, no, dummy, he's not called King Koopa. He's called Bowser. And then saying it all these many years, then the Mario Park opens in Japan, and there's not a single thing that says Bowser. It's Great Demon King Koopa everywhere. So it's like, well, goddamn it, why are we doing the Shanana name for this monster? So art direction, real quick, because we do want to wrap up. We don't want to go as long as the film went. Overall, the interpretation of the game characters is pretty good, I think. Although I will say that this would be like the Deke version of anime. It's very cheap. It's shot on the twos. It's very herky-jerky type of movements. There's, as I discussed, there's lots of montages and musical sequences to cut down on, what needs to be rendered, and it's also to pad it out to make a full feature film. And I liked Luigi's color palette. It's different from any interpretation I've ever seen of the character, so I dug that. I also do like this twist on this character, which, as John touched on, there was really nothing to base off of other than it's a different colored Mario. So there is something here to be said because they kind of shaped Luigi in a different direction. While he is Mario's brother and they do live together, he's not just Mario in different clothing.
Yeah, I think I'm maybe making a Keith style leap of faith here. I think maybe they chose to give Luigi a different color palette so he could contrast better with Mario. Because the red and green sometimes they kind of can be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Oh, maybe the animators were colorblind.
Could be. Could be.
That's dumb. That's not real.
Yeah, but imagine doing a character who wears white overalls and a green shirt for a whole movie. Like that's gonna clash with so much, and like when you want to have white clouds and you got a guy in white, and that's probably the choice may have been artistic.
It was weird watching a cartoon that was a Japanese cartoon that was trying to look like an American cartoon.
Yeah.
When so much of the appeal of anime in the 80s and early 90s, when it was still exotic, was how different and wild it was in comparison to Western animation.
Yeah, and even a lot of the jokes felt a little bit Western in the slapstick nature of it.
Sure, yeah, I agree with that.
And the look reminded me a bit of one of my favorite movies, Unico and the Island of Magic from 1983, but only if it was done by some Japanese food distributor funded animation studio, maybe, kind of on that level, which is surprising because this was made 3 years later, but it made me realize they have very similar stories. Bowser turns the people into blocks or coins with a curse upon the land. And in the Island of Magic, it's all about Lord Kuruku turning the people into stone and using them to build his castle.
Right.
So it has that same kind of like turning people to stone or items and the hero having to come and break this curse to release all the people. So what I'm saying is Mario, you stole from Unico.
Man, Unico is coming up on that 40-year anniversary. We should probably cover the Unico films. So as far as sound design and voice acting, hey, look, the soundtrack only consists of 4 tracks, and you're going to hear one of them like 8 times. So hopefully you dig it. And as far as like the fan dubs concerned, like I said earlier, I'm not going to bag on these guys. I appreciate the work they put in. It's awful. Like, it's bad choices for some of these characters, but I was able to at least understand what these characters are saying. Probably would have toned down the accents and the caricature voices a little bit, but I'm not going to sit here. They weren't professionals. They did it for free, and I appreciate what they did. So at least I could watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. Yeah. Like there's not a lot going on. It's very hard to adapt a video game from that era in particular when there's not a lot of story to it.
Yeah.
You're stretching 2 lines of plot that essentially are in Mario. Like, it's like Mario needs to go rescue the princess and King Koopa wants to stop him. That's the plot of Mario.
Yep.
The game, you know? And they had to try and figure out a way to turn that into an hour-long movie. They didn't exactly succeed because they didn't really add a whole lot to it,
right.
you know? But then again, are you making a less sincere or less genuine piece of work if you go down the He-Man route of the magic synthesizer and Gwildor and all that shit? Like, you know,
I love that movie.
Oh, so do I. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, people who like He-Man, they were like, listen, there's not enough brain showing in this movie. You know, where's He-Man's loincloth? And but it was very different from the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand nowadays people have, there's filmmakers who've grown up with Mario, so they want to make the Mario,
Yeah.
But these guys in the 80s, like, maybe they played it. They probably were like, well, that's half the battle is over because these video game losers have done all the artwork for us, so we can just copy them and slap it onto some shitty backgrounds that we've got lying around. They were. I'm just saying, I don't think they were in love with Mario.
Yeah.
And
look, Tanahashi from Grouper Productions call. We got 14 skids of instant rice. We got to come up with something. Somebody get Sochi Fuji Company on the phone to make a Mario cartoon. We got ramen to move. We got instant rice to move.
No, as someone who watched all but the last 15 minutes of this with the fan dub, and listen, I'm someone who's really staunch when it comes to subtitles versus dubbing. Something is lost in translation. It doesn't matter what you were watching, especially when it comes to the syncing of mouth movements. Like the Japanese fit a lot more into less sounds than we do. So, like, English people end up having to speak at a more rapid pace to match up all the whatever. But it really subtracts from what was intended by the filmmakers. But considering this was probably a bit of a catch grab, and from watching a bit of each, there isn't much that is lost between the fan dub or the original voices. They're fine. They're nothing spectacular. But I liked them more in the original Japanese, I will say. But you're not losing anything between the two because, we gotta move these freaking, this rice star seasoning. Come on, man. We gotta get this out here.
I appreciate, like, the 80s, 50s rock revival thing that Japan had going. We saw some of that in Kiki's Delivery Service at the time. I appreciated the voice acting to a degree, I suppose, because it had some character to it and it had some charm to it, because it was just a bunch of weebs doing this. Look, it is what it is. Would I have watched this? Would I have finished watching this if I didn't have to do it for this podcast?
No. No, same.
I almost
same
stopped 5 minutes into it. Like, I literally paused it about 5-10 minutes in and was like, Jillian, I can't handle this dubbing. Like, this is like, I watched a lot of bad dubbed anime in the late 90s, early 2000s, which is why I was surprised I never heard of this from hanging out at anime conventions. Like, nobody ever talked about this. But this feels like this was dubbed from people I was hanging out with back then. Right down to the terrible gay stereotype on the Koopa Troopa doing hair and makeup, who doesn't actually have lines in the Japanese version.
Okay, we'll just add a little makeup right here. Oh, and right there too. Oh, yeah, and just add some right there and right there. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, add it on. Oh, yeah, just a little dab right here won't do you. And, how's it look? Yep, I think you're done.
Eek! I look like a clown!
Ow!
I've had enough of this. I'm out of here!
If you look, his mouth's not moving.
Yeah, I had a feeling that.
So these people made the choice to put that in there as a joke.
It's funny. It's funny stuff.
Yeah, you talked about bad decisions earlier by the dubs. That was the worst decision they made. I was like, that was very early late 90s. Oof.
Now, Keith, you brought me back to the
late 90s.
You brought me back to the late 90s and thinking about when I was watching anime, and it was mostly like your Toonami type of stuff that you would see with the dubs. But when I was buying those $80 tapes of Dragon Ball Z, the films and whatnot, this Doki Doki Dewey song really reminded me of Head La, Head Shala.
Chala.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it has that energy.
That vibe,
it definitely has the early DBZ intro energy.
I'm not saying it's bad. It was of the era, and I don't dislike Doki 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 Dewey. It was too much, too many times it was played for me. Hey, look, overall, these are my final thoughts on the film. It's fine. Nothing spectacular happens. It's kind of boring. It doesn't add anything to the lore, the canon of the Super Mario Brothers. If anything, I feel like the film plays it too safe. Where we talked about in the past, Captain N. I like the risks they took with Captain N and how they were weird with some of it. I'm thinking of the particular episode in Captain N where they go to Tetris World and it's weird Tetris people, or they would just introduce these weird characters to fill in the gaps to these games that really didn't have a narrative. Clearly, they're building a narrative off of what you can glean from the games, but they're also keeping it extremely safe, as it's a very simple plot of bad guy steals, princess need to find MacGuffins to defeat bad guy. The end. Overall, the whole experience is very middling and forgettable for me.
Yeah, I've kind of said everything. I didn't really care for it all that much. I would have stopped after a few minutes. Maybe I would have scrubbed through to see some of the art.
Yeah.
I'd like to, maybe if someone gave me a book featuring this art, I'd probably appreciate it as a nice curio. But I'll say this: praise be to whoever decided to implement the watch at 1.75 speed option on YouTube. That makes watching all this old garbage that we cover for this show a lot easier, because it just allows a quicker digestion of it.
Sure.
And I did do that once I got a taste for how the voices sound. Then I sped it up so I could live a happier life. I don't mean to be super dramatic about it. It's fine. It's if we're going to the cereal bowls. We all, I can see here, felt very similar about it.
Yeah.
If it was worse, it would have been more fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. And Luigi, the guy who did Luigi's voice, was really bad. But I wish everybody sucked as much as he did.
Sure. Yeah.
Because then it would have been hilarious.
It would have been more notable. Yeah.
I would say people talk a lot about Mario Brothers, and it always comes back to it's two dudes tripping on mushrooms. And I feel like they're right when it comes to this movie.
Yeah.
It plays out like a psychedelic trip. I've used that word probably far too many times in this. But it reminded me a lot of The Point from 1971, based on the album The Point by Harry Nilsson, which, is a story of a boy and his dog on an adventure. The dog is also blue in The Point. So there's a connection here between a character of a boy and his dog. Even weirder that Wiggler Dog and Arrow from The Point are both blue. But the big difference between these two movies is The Point has a great life lesson. There is no great life lesson within the Mario Brothers movie. As we've said, it's fine. And I totally enjoyed laughing at the decisions the fans who dubbed this movie made with the dialogue. But I'm sorry, Mario Brothers, the great search for Princess Peach. You're getting 5 out of 10 cereal bowls. You're mid. Stay in denial, girl.
Did you know?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That this episode this Mario movie has the Guinness Book of World Records for most 5 out of 10 ratings of a movie in a lifetime and career.
Wow.
Shigeru Miyamoto's mother must be fucking insufferable with her pride for her son. That's all I'll say. 5 out of 10. It's whatever.
I'll keep it short. 5 out of 10 because I really got to take a piss. Well, that does it for this episode. I'd like to thank my co-hosts for joining me, as well as the members of One Rad Club, without whom these shows just wouldn't happen. If you'd like to show your support for these shows, check out oneradclub.com. For just $1 a month, you can get early access to all the great shows on the One Rad Podcast Network. And for a little bit more than $1 a month, you can unlock all sorts of other exclusive content and physical rewards. Again, be sure to check out oneradclub.com. Thank you so much for your support. We'll be right back real soon.